So welcome back to our next instalment of Latin America North and Brazil, an update for Q2 2024. This one's packed full of goodies. I hope you enjoy. So to home in on what we're going to be looking at today, these are the countries that we're going to be covering. Starting off in Guyana, we're going to go to Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname, and then on to Brazil. So it's itemized in the description, so if you want to jump to a particular area, just go ahead, but there's some good stuff up and down the coast. So the last video we did in this region, it was the Q1 2024 update, over 11,700 views, a total watch time of 711 hours. There's a link to the YouTube video. Now we're going to start with Guyana. There's been a lot happening in Guyana in the last quarter. Whiptail FID was made back in April 2024. SBM Offshore will supply the latest FPSO, the Jaguar. This is going to be a $12.7 billion project. Look at those sparkly white coveralls that they've got there. Very good. This vessel stores around about 2 million barrels of crude oil, designed with a capacity of 250,000 barrels of oil per day, with associated gas treatment capacity of 540 million cubic feet per day and water injection capacity of 300,000 barrels per day. Now it's going to be in a water depth of 1,630 meters, and I think by now we kind of know the Stargroup block operators. Of course, we are waiting to hear the results of the arbitration decision on the Guyana block in the Chevron Hess takeover, but probably not until mid-2025, apparently. So anyway, there's the ship in Shanghai, and known internally as the Multi-Purpose Floater, the MPF-5. There you go. I think Jaguar is a much nicer name. So there is Whiptail as a little reminder, and there's the other fields in the Starboard block. Now we're going to have a look at Haimara, and in the Haimara 1 was the discovery. It was the 12th discovery in the block. It was a gas condensate discovery back in 2019. Now, TD 5.5 kilometers, water depth 1.4 kilometers. Already, it's been appraised by Haimara 2 in 2023, but there was no announcement. Haimara 3, July 2024, no announcement. And now Haimara 4, which spudded in August 2024. Potentially this could be the 8th development, could be the first gas development. We understand that the group needs to return 20% of the Starboard block in October if untapped gas reserves remain undeveloped. Thought to be around about 16 TCF gas reserves on block. If we look at the Lau Lau and Hammerhead appraisal, the Lau Lau 2, it was drilled with the Noble Sam Croft, scheduled to complete in July 2024. I haven't seen any announcement on that. Would be nice to get something. Hammerhead 4 spudded in August 24 with the Stena Karen drill ship. There they are on the map, and pause the video if you want to read more details. Now the existing FPSOs on the block, well, we've got Lisa 1 and 2, or Destiny and Unity. We've got Prosperity on Payara and Pecora fields, and the one Guyana, which is going to be on Yellowtail and Redtail. In the future, well, we're expecting the Aroa Witu Abundance on the Oahu field. It's under construction. Jaguar, we just saw a picture of. FID approved, and that's going to be ongoing. We've got an unspecified one targeting first oil, perhaps for the Hammerhead field in 2029. And is it going to be Fangtooth or Haimara next in line? We shall find out soon. So moving to the Orinduik block, and the block contains the 2019 Joe and Jethro sort of heavy oil discoveries. In August 2024, Eco Atlantic acquired 60% and operatorship from Tullow Guyana, and now holds 100% of the block. I think they're going to be farming down, so I'm sure there's lots of data to go and have a look at in that data room. The Corentyne block contains the Way and Kawa discoveries. The joint venture between CGX Energy and Frontera Energy filed a notice of possible commercial interest, and this is to retain their control of the Corentyne license. Now, we did a video on this. Well, in fact, we've done two. If you want to see more information on what's going on the Corentyne block, you only have to look at Trove News. In June, the Ministry of Natural Resources published a request for expressions of interest from reputable and experienced seismic acquisition companies. They are looking to shoot a 3D multi-client seismic study offshore Guyana. Now, the government is in the process of pre-qualifying. There were some 8 bidders, apparently, so watch this space. What is seismic? Well, there you go, all explained in a simple diagram. In total, we've got something like 16 videos on this region from our first, where we looked at the Kawa discovery some 2 years ago. Really, sort of every quarter, we've been putting something out on this region, and you can see the titles there. Lots to follow, and you can actually see how the region has evolved during that time. Now, moving on to Trinidad and Tobago. The news in Trinidad and Tobago is that the Manatee field, which is here, this is the cross-border field, Manatee Lauren. It's Lauren on the Venezuela side, Manatee on the Trinidad side, and FID announced July 2024. Now, this is Shell 100%. It was a 1983 discovery and thought to be about 2.7 TCF, and it's in ECMA block, the East Coast Marine Area, Columbus Basin. Now, 4 appraisal wells have been drilled, and this is the region of Shell's largest gas-producing fields. There's the Dolphin, Starfish, Bounty, and Endeavour in the region. Shell plans to grow its LNG business by 20 to 30% by 2020, compared to the 2022 production volumes. Startup for Manatee, well, it's expected to be 2027 with 8 development wells. So there's going to be a 110-kilometre pipeline, and peak production, 104,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day. Now, coconuts, this map, kind of take your time. This is a blow-up here in the top right, and you can see where coconut is. But in actual fact, the block is really quite close to the median line with Venezuela. It's BP and EOG. They've joined forces on the coconut gas development. There is an FID in place, and it's a 50-50 joint venture with EOG Resources, the operator. First gas expected 2027, 2005 discovery at a water depth of 260 feet. BP and EOG have 3 operational joint developments already, with Mento due to come on stream in 2025. Now, having a look at the licensing round results for Trinidad, and these we understand are provisional. So there were 4 of the 13 blocks on offer received bids, and you can see the areas that were bid for. It's the sort of the usual players, EOG, BG, which of course is Shell now, BP. They're looking at this area. It's their backyard, as it were. No bids on these particular blocks outlined here. But there are the blocks that were bid on. The hot block, modified UC block. It's EOG, Shell, and BP. So all the 3 major players in the region, all looking at opportunities within this large block. Now, you can see they have quite a significant acreage position in and around this area. In Trinidad, of course, BP, there was a divestment. They've actually sold out of 4 mature fields and 1 discovery, and they've sold to Perenco. The fields are listed at the bottom left there. Perenco, they've got ambitions to invest and unlock additional reserves and increase production. BP, they want to focus capital on growth opportunities. So the map, you can have a look around and you'll probably find those, but I'll give you a clue. They're all there. Now, onshore, Cascadura, well, field drilling. That's Touchstone Exploration, operator with 80%, and Heritage, their partner, with the other 20%. And it's a field expansion project. In the 4th quarter of 2023, Cascadura was producing just shy of 7,000 barrels of oil equivalent a day. But the Cascadura 2, completed back in February 2024, had a TD of 2,170 meters. It expects that there'll be a production test in Q3 2024. Cascadura 3 Sidetrack 1, which spudded in March 24, is now cased, with production testing also scheduled in the 3rd quarter 2024. So we'll be watching this one and wish Touchstone and partners every success. Moving on to Suriname. Well, in Suriname, the activity has been in Block 52, the Fusea 1. Now, it's a Petronas-operated block with ExxonMobil 50% partner. And then the Fusea one, well, it was described as having several oil and gas-bearing sandstones drilled with the Noble Voyager back in May 2024. TD of over 5 kilometres. It's about 9 kilometres east of Roystonia 1, which is the 2023 discovery. The Slovenia discovery was also on block. Now, Wood Mackenzie, they've come up with an estimate for Roystonia and Fusea, which saying they might hold as much as 400 million barrels, which could support an FPSO of around about 100,000 barrels of oil per day sort of capacity. Now, Slovenia 2 was completed in August 2024. There are no details that we've seen to date, but it is described as being a successful appraisal well. Watch this space and send us any news. So the Baja discovery in Block 53, just to the north, it's only about 8 kilometres north of Roystonia, and it's possible that that could be incorporated in some future development. Now, Wood Mackenzie suggests 2 TCF in the adjoining blocks, which could support a floating liquefied natural gas project in the early 2030s. Early days. Next up, we're going to have a look at Block 58. But before that, just to mention Deepwater Block 59, Equinor have withdrawn from the block and Hess now looking for a new partner. But 58, here we go. It's the Total Energies operated block, the 50% with APA Corporation. Getting much nearer to FID, expected to be made in Q4 2024. Now, the environmental impact statement has been submitted in August 2024 and startup expected to be around about 2028. Features the Krabdagu and Sapakara discoveries. If these all work out well, peak output could be of the order of 200,000 barrels of oil per day. Well, equivalent, I guess, but it's quite gassy out here, as I recall. Development drilling expected Q4 2026 with up to 32 wells, so that's going to be a large piece of work for somebody. Now, in the shallow licensing round in Suriname, the bids have closed, and according to the Stasoli, there were several bids. Doesn't tell us too much, does it? It's yet to release the full details of the companies, or we hadn't seen them by the time we recorded this. Awards were supposed to be in June. Now, 11 blocks were on offer, lying between the onshore fields, just shown on the bottom of the map there. You can see Calcutta and the other one. It's water depth up to 150 metres. So there are the blocks. That's the seismic coverage you could see on there. We'll report when we get some update on awards in this region. Stasoli has signed a production sharing contract with PetroChina Company Limited, and that was signed in 2024. It covers blocks 14 and 15 shown here. Now, Block 5, been in the news. This is the Qatar Energy acquiring 20% from Chevron in Block 5. There is an exploration well expected to follow with this. It's on the border with, basically Guyana and the Corentyne block. Now, become a subscriber to TROVE global database, and we've got information, subsurface information, detailed geology and geophysics and reservoir engineering, all sorts on every sort of field and discovery worldwide. Now, moving on to Brazil. So first up in Campos, we've got the Jubarte field, and this is a new FPSO coming in, the Maria Quiteria. It's for block BC60. You can see it from the photograph of the FPSO there. It's a massive vessel. It includes heat recovery steam generation as part of the power generation system, and that's because it's dealing with a very large 700 million barrel pre- and post-salt 17 API oil. So it's a heavy oil. It's in deep water, and it's been the field's been producing since 2002, but here we are, another FPSO coming in to boost production. Also in Campos, we've got the Raia Pintada and Raia Manta. The first steel has been cut for the FPSO. It's being built at the Seatram's Brasfels shipyard. The vessel will have a capacity of 126,000 barrels of oil per day and 16 million cubic meters of gas per day production capacity. It's a pre-salt field, and it's in BMC33 concession. Startup targeted for 2028. And there is the joint venture partners with Equinor operating. Staying in the Campos Basin, we've got the Cherne and Bagre fields. Now, this is a Perenco acquisition. They've acquired 100% of, 2 fixed platforms, PCH1, PCH2, located 30 kilometres from the Pago cluster, which is located here, and you can see his Cherne and Bagre. Now, these fields have been mothballed for the last few years. They were being produced by Petrobras since about the 1980s in 130 metres of water. Now, the deal expected to close in 2025, and Perenco are hoping that they can redevelop these fields and target around about 15,000 barrels of oil per day. There is the life of field profile, and it does look like there was still some life left in this field back in 2020. Of course, having been shut in for a few years, maybe some associated flush production. We'll be watching this one and reporting in the future. So moving now to the Santos Basin and having a look at Gato do Mato. This is MODEC have secured the feed for the FPSO there with 2,000 metre water depth. It's 250 kilometres offshore. It's a deep water pre-salt carbonate oil and gas discovery. FID expected in 2025. Shell operated. There's the partners. Plan for 10 development wells, 4 producers, 4 gas injectors and 2 water injectors, targeting around about 90,000 barrels of oil per day. Staying in the Santos Basin and looking at the Atlanta and Oliva fields. Now it's an outer have sold a 20% stake to Westlawn. Now this is the company's first expansion into Latin America. It's a couple of discoveries, well, they're actually fields. Petrojarl was an early production system and is going to be replaced by the FPSO Atlanta. So Jensen is to supply a second FPSO for full production, and it's targeted that the production startup for the second FPSO is going to be in late 2024. Who are Westlawn? Well, pause the video and have a look at this. So if we look at Buzios, we've featured Buzios in several previous videos that we've done. This is Petrobras operated. It's a pre-salt supergiant field. SLB, formerly known as Schlumberger, were awarded 3 contracts for Buzios in April. Up to 35 wells in the Buzios Wave 2 oil field. Subsea 7 have been awarded development of the Buzios 9 field, and there's going to be 102 kilometres of risers and flow lines. Buzios is a supergiant. Now moving further south down towards Uruguay, but still in Brazil, and we've got the Pelotas Basin and seismic, a new 3D survey. It's being shot by Shearwater and Searcher. Now they're acquiring the Pelotas Basin 3D program. The acquisition started in June 2024. You can see the blocks and the operators on the map there. Now, Catalyst Data Management are also talking about Western GECO looking to shoot a 3D seismic scheduled to start in 2026. So here's the location of the Pelotas Basin, right down in the south of Brazil. So who are Shearwater? Well, we go straight to the website to find out, and what you find is you've got this really annoying scrolling video which takes up most of the homepage, and it takes a little while, but then you find out, well, they are indeed an acquisition company for oil and gas and offshore wind, and there is bits and pieces, but this is what the website design looks like. Lots and lots of empty spaces and very, very light on information. Compare that with their competitor. And whereas when you look at Search's website, straight on the home page, everything, all the information that you need, it passes my 20-second criteria, which means can I understand what the heck's going on in 20 seconds of looking at a page? So no, we're not being paid for saying that, but compare the experience yourself and leave a comment below if you wish. And here's Western GECO. Logos big, information small. Another tip for a website there. Thinking about stone throwing and glass houses, I should check our website and see if you can get quite a lot of information in the first 20 seconds. With reconstructions, it was more or less alongside the Orange Basin in Namibia, so hopes are high that there may be some hydrocarbons found in this really underexplored area. Just a quick reminder to get in touch with us at info@firstsom.com. This is what TROVE is, a database with all the information collated and tabulated. We have temperature, pressure information, water depth, latitudes and longitudes. We've got all the information that you require and some great analogues for other parts of the world. Now, in summary, TROVE is always growing, all the key news and data from around the world. If you want to become a subscriber, get in touch. TROVE has the data you need to explore and produce for oil and gas. And thought for the day, 3 technical assistants working full-time for the next decade wouldn't be able to match anything like the amount of data that's compiled and collated in TROVE. It is truly enormous. The size, globally, well, it's gobsmacking. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, ring that bell. There's the details. See you in our next video. Bye for now.